Receiving simulator transmission. Uploading transmitted feed. Initializing playback sequence. Alright Seipher, we're ready.
Hey everyone, Seipher here, and welcome back to Seipher Plays Kingdom Hearts. In the last episode, we returned to Agrabah to inform Aladdin of Jasmine's safety, but were distracted by Carpet freaking out and gesturing to fly out into the desert. We hopped aboard and flew out into the desert only to be confronted by the massive mechanical warrior, Kurt Zisa. The powerful Heartless put up quite a fight, silencing our magic and physically pushing us with his swordsmanship, but we managed to come out on top. This time, we're back in the Colosseum to take on the penultimate super boss by challenging the first of the mysterious fights, which we unlocked by beating the Hades Cup. Now, before we do get in, you may notice both Donald and Goofy's weapons and my stats. Off screen, since I did do the solo challenge and time trial for the Hades Cup, I gained quite a few levels. Sora gained 6 levels and learned Critical Plus at level 90, which I equipped. Donald gained 5 levels and Goofy gained 6 levels. I'm not going to go into the stat gains because at this point it's just strength and defense. The last significant level up was Donald's at the end of the Kurt Zisa fight, which maxed out his MP at a base of 10. In terms of equipment, I took off one of Sora's crystal crowns. I know that I said that I liked having the added defense, the added strength, the added MP, AP, and HP, but after the fight with Kurt Zisa, I got a bit nervous about how much damage I was taking, and I know that these other bosses can be pretty devastating, so I switched off one of his crystal crowns for a ribbon. This does give him a hit in HP, but it gives him the 20% resistance to all elements and quite the massive defense buff, which at this point is probably more important than anything else because 55 or 60 strength is pretty much the cap for what you can do with any fight because of damage caps in this game. So hopefully that isn't a bad decision. As for Donald and Goofy, we do have their ultimate weapons, so let's quickly go over them. The ultimate magical staff, named after a recurring sword in Final Fantasy series, is here for Donald to display his magical mastery. It boasts a long reach, 9 strength, 10 in final mix, and plus 2 max MP. It is the best all-around staff for Donald in the game. It does, however, face competition in the final mix version, though, with the addition of a new synthesis weapon for Donald, which provides more magic at the cost of strength and reach. But given you want magic for Donald, it's not much of a competition, and unfortunately, the competition is more in favor of the synthesis weapon, if you're willing to put in for the unique materials that it requires. Up next, Goofy's Save the King. The ultimate shield, and parallel to the ultimate staff, is Goofy's proof to aid his friends. It is a large shield that boasts a potent 10 strength, 11 in final mix, and plus 2 max MP in the best ways. It is basically his best all-around weapon. While other shields exist in Final Mix for Goofy to enhance his offensive capabilities or his tanky support role, this shield can manage both and is honestly the best in my opinion. Now then, before we do actually get into the actual fight today, we want to make sure that we have guard equipped, and we want to make sure that we have Curaga and Firaga on our shortcut menu. I would also recommend not having Aeroga on your shortcut menu. Normally, I would be all for having something that reduces damage, but this fight in particular, Aeroga is not your friend, so make sure that you do it. That's also another reason why I switched to the ribbon, just so that I could make up for the lost defense from not using that spell. In any case, let's get this started by selecting the first 5 question marks. Another of the Titans is here to introduce us to the cold embrace of death. Say hello to the Ice Titan. Immediately, you'll want to lock on and get out of the main arena and up into the bleachers, as each step this guy makes casts shockwaves. His main method of attack right now is going to be summoning these stalactites of ice from the ground and shooting icicle lances at you that you need to guard back at him. If you cast Aeroga, they will become too large to be able to be guarded and will have to be dodged. Just keep up with guarding his icicle lances back at him, and he'll eventually start to fall down. Fortunately, you have to be careful, as once he's gotten back up, he will start to really play it into you and start breathing ice at the side of the arena that you're on. And start dropping icicle chunks from the sky. And if you get hit by the ice breath, it will freeze you, and the ice on the ground will trip you up, which will leave you open to a combo attack. As typical, I would actually recommend jumping before casting Cure so that the animation comes out faster, especially if you're playing the Final Mix version, where you do not get Leaf Bracer. His final desperation attack is that sort of Kamehameha of ice. It is actually called Diamond Dust, so another Final Fantasy reference. Only used when he gets to this low point of HP. Only way to really dodge the Kamehameha of Ice, or Diamond Dust, whatever you want to call it, is to get into the corners. And unfortunately, once he gets to this low point of HP, he won't stay stunned as long as he's done before. All in all, not a tough fight, but just a bit tedious with how he gets up a lot quicker toward the end there, but shouldn't be too much trouble. For beating the Ice Titan, though, we've earned nothing other than bragging rights. However, in the final mix version, we were granted a new Keyblade for winning the match. I will now put it up on screen. This is Diamond Dust, the ultimate magical Keyblade, named after the attack of the long-standing Final Fantasy summon, Shiva. Boasting medium reach and a mediocre 3 strength and 20% critical rate, it is on par with the Kingdom Key in terms of physical prowess. This, however, is offset by superb magical prowess, bestowing a whopping 3 additional max MP. Due to the late nature of this keychain's arrival, it is a favorite among magic-focused builds, since at this point your strength, if it is at least 55 to 60, you've already probably hit the damage cap, so getting more MP is probably better for you in the long run. That said, magic does have its own cap. At 15 MP, you won't see any more increases. Well, sorry, after 15 MP, you won't see any more increases to magical spells potency. But it's a lot easier to hit the magic cap with that than it is to... Well, actually, what am I saying? It is easier to hit the damage cap with physical strength versus the magical cap. But there are a few other things to consider with this Keyblade for the final fight that we have. But for now, I'm going to end things here. We've conquered the penultimate super boss. Next time, we turn our attention to the toughest challenge the Coliseum has to offer. I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay gold.
Playback sequence terminated. Transmission disconnected.